Here's a really simple guided meditation, but a meditation that you can easily learn the sequence for and do it on your own. So a lot of people, you might be one of them, get used to listening to guided meditations, which is one approach, really good approach. But then they find themselves when they're not able to access something, or maybe they want to establish kind of a home practice. They don't always want to be listening to a guided meditation. It's really good to develop your own way, your own style. And so this is a really simple sequence. And we're going to start with what would be basic mindfulness kind of practice, just taking a couple of breaths. But we're going to, the way that this will differ from a lot of kind of mindfulness based meditation practices is that we're going to move from using the mind to focus, which feels small and narrow. That's necessarily so, like the mind will feel like that, feels like it's in the head. We're going to move from that effortlessly, basically, to a slightly expanded view, remaining mindful, to a very expanded view. And it's still a mindfulness, but it's without effort, and it begins at least to touch pure consciousness or non-dual, different language for what that experience is like. Basically, that's where all meditation practices are, most of them anyway, are pointed towards your true nature, which is open awareness itself. So this is a really simple sequence that you can use to do that. So first, just take a couple of deep breaths, just physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, get settled. And as you're taking those deep breaths, notice with an ordinary mind the way that we can observe that breath. So, sort of a mindful witness. You're watching the breath. It's no different than watching anything else, focusing, using the mind to focus on something. And that has a calming effect. When the mind has one thing to do, it's happy, at least temporarily. And notice how that feels. So notice that knowing that way, knowing this kind of attention-based knowing, feels like the one that knows is in the head. And now decentralize that basically, or let the center of gravity of knowing drop into the chest and belly area. And that, you can check that, see if you're like, are you using your mind to think about that? Like, is the mind checking out how it feels there? Or are you really knowing from there? There will be a difference and you'll be able to recognize it. You don't need to make it happen. It's always happening. You just need to see if you can relax enough to connect with it. So you can feel the vitality. And again, we've just opened the lens a little bit. So still, still just partial, so slightly focused, but now the aperture is wider. Just taking in more information. But you don't need to think about it. The chest, the belly, the body knows itself without thought. Now, open the lens further, become aware of the entire body. That shift really opens the aperture. You may have a sense that like the boundaries of the body no longer, they don't seem solid or real in a way, the way they typically do from a kind of mind-based point of view. And no effort is needed or required. In fact, the opposite is true, really. The less effort, the easier it is to open to just the experience. You're not trying to make any kind of experience. It's just simply opening to what's true already. Free of any particular object, although right now we're slightly limiting it with the idea of a body. And then you can open it all the way up and sense that awareness that seems to permeate the body actually seems to permeate everything. If you look in the body, you can't find a source for the awareness. It's simply aware, both in and out of the body. So you can feel the body as an aspect of the ocean of awareness, or the sky of awareness, rather than sort of separate author of awareness. The body becomes just an aspect, like other things, like all the other forms, trees and clouds, and all of the things that come with the body. Body sensations, thoughts, are aspects of the aspect. Like fractals. It's turtles all the way down. And then from this no point of view, no self point of view, open awareness, just simply sitting and not resisting, allowing things to arise and pass as they will. So very simple technique, just to recap. You can start with a couple of breaths, just get yourself settled. Begin with mindful witness, noticing the breath with the way that we typically or habitually approach life. By witnessing it, it's feeling separate. There's a self in the head, even with our own breath. It's like watching it, feels separate from it. Then decentralize, relax, open to the awareness that's already awake in the chest and the belly, so in the middle of the torso, heart center. Establish that. Checking to make sure that the mind isn't reaching down or you're not coming back up. Mind has lots of ways to try to sneak in. It wants to be involved. And just relaxing back from that. Opening. Then expand the lens so that it includes the entire body. And again, it's really just a matter of opening. It's already happening. You're not making anything happen. So go from the chest, heart center, the entire body. Establish that. Open beyond that. And notice that awareness permeates both the body and space outside the body. There's no distinction really. It can't be found. Connect with the experience of the body as merely an expression, as the metaphor of the waves in the ocean. So the body is simply a wave, but never disconnected from the deep ocean, or the body is a cloud in the sky. So experiencing that way, experiencing it that way, rather than a separate self that's now aware of consciousness, experiencing from the no point of view of consciousness that can't be located, experiencing a body from that point of view. Okay, I hope that helps. Pretty simple technique, and you can use this as your home meditation. Easy to do. 5-10 minutes, probably 10. 5, it's hard to settle down for most of us. Life's so busy. All right. May you be happy, healthy, and loved.